Welcome in for another edition of the Morning Espresso here on the SDH Network, brought to you by Oglethorpe University, Atlanta's premier undergraduate learning experience and soccer powerhouse. I'm Jason Longshore. Welcome to Oglethorpe University. Welcome to all of you getting your Morning Espresso, all the soccer news you need to know for Thursday, February 6th. Let's start in MLS. Christian Ramirez is reportedly heading from the Columbus Crew to the LA Galaxy. America de Cali in Colombia reportedly pushed very hard to sign Ramirez. There had been some other clubs, I believe, linked to signing Ramirez in the offseason, but he's going to stay in MLS. He's going to go to the Galaxy. So he will be the replacement for Dejan Jovelic, who went to Kansas City. Who's going to replace now Ramirez and Cucho Hernandez in Columbus? Because I thought Ramirez would replace Cucho, and now he's not. Brianna McKay in Columbus says sources confirmed that it will be up to $500,000 in GAM, $250,000 guaranteed from the Galaxy to the Crew for Christian Ramirez. Orlando City, they signed a designated player yesterday morning, Marco Pašalić, 24-year-old winger from Croatia, designated player, Croatian international. He's got 5 caps. He joins the team through 27 with a team option for 28, and he replaces Facundo Torres as the designated player there to go alongside Luis Muriel and Martin Ojeda. They're going to need more from Muriel in 2025 for sure. I mentioned previously on the Espresso that Benfica were interested in selling Argentine central midfielder Benjamin Rollheiser. Well, Tom Bogert reported that Dallas was one of the clubs that was interested. They had talks about him, but it didn't progress. Dallas is still looking for a designated player number 10. Other MLS clubs have some serious interest in Rollheiser, and it's probably going to take around $10 million to get that kind of a deal done. First round pairings for the 2025 U.S. Open Cup have been set. 32 matchups, pro teams versus amateur teams. 26 teams are making their Open Cup debuts. Few games to watch. Some of the ones nearby us, but a couple of derbies as well. Inter Miami CF2, the MLS Next Pro side, playing Miami United FC. Miami United's been in 3 straight Open Cups now. Tulsa Athletic and FC Tulsa. Tulsa Athletic won this derby in 2023. Asheville City, they will host Greenville Triumph. That's going to be a great one on Tuesday, March 18th. Chattanooga FC hosting Corpus Christi FC. Appalachian FC hosting One Knoxville SC. That'll be a really good one. Little Rock Rangers hosting the Birmingham Legion. South Georgia Tormenta hosting Harbor City FC of the UPSL. And the UPSL back-to-back champions Soda City. They have to go on the road from Columbia, South Carolina to High Point, North Carolina to face the Carolina Core. That should be a really fun match. The National Women's Soccer League, the NWSL, has agreed to pay a $5 million restitution fund to compensate current or former players who have suffered from abuse while playing in the league. Now, it's not immediately clear how the funds will be distributed. That process will be worked through. But the settlement, it follows extensive investigations that started in 2021. Widespread allegations of verbal, emotional, sexual abuse across multiple NWSL clubs. There was many head coaches who were dismissed or resigned. The NWSL commissioner at the time resigned. So, in addition to financial compensation, the settlement includes a list of requirements for the NWSL to continue protecting players. The league's leadership is required to report to the attorney generals who led this investigation every 6 months for the next 3 years. And the report also does acknowledge that the league has already worked to implement safeguards outlined in a previous report. This is a big deal, and there could be more fallout from this. Stay tuned when it comes to the NWSL and this aspect of their safeguarding processes that they have made progress on, but there's still some things from the past that they have to deal with. The Argentine Primera División match between Godoy Cruz and Talleres was suspended late Tuesday, after an assistant referee was struck by an object from the crowd. The main referee picked up something that looked like a thin tube from the field after he called for medical assistance. The linesman, Diego Martin, was bleeding from his forehead. The game had been halted for a lengthy review on a VAR situation. A goal would have put Godoy Cruz ahead in the 37th minute. It was disallowed due to an offside call by the video assistant referee, and then this happens. as we've talked about when we get into fan behavior, and we talked about it last time on the Espresso with disgusting messages that were sent to Bunny Shaw of Manchester City. This is should be a lifetime banning thing. I mean, there shouldn't even be a question about it. I believe most stadiums now in Argentina, I'm not 100% sure. I know here, yes. Most stadiums have cameras pretty much all over in terms of the crowd and people doing things like this. Get the guy on camera, get the guy identified, or woman could be. Get it identified and get that person banned for life. No question, no way around it. It should not be able to attend a match in Argentina if you're going to be throwing things from the crowd and striking referees. And anybody who ever thinks about throwing something from the crowd at the field, don't. We've seen it happen in Atlanta. We've seen it happen most places. Don't do it. Just don't. You never know what can happen with it. Don't do it. If you do, you should be banned and you shouldn't be back. That's just flat out. U.S. Soccer Federation has updated its referee abuse prevention policy after 90% of referees reported that abuse has increased over the last 5 years. 60% of referees chose not to recertify due to harassment and threats. The updated policy, it includes stronger sanctions for any form of physical or non-physical abuse towards referees. If you are a player, if you are a coach, if you are an administrator and you're involved in the game at the youth level, the adult level, you might want to go read this so you know where the lines are now so you can avoid penalties. And more importantly, so you can create a better culture around this. 90% of referees reporting that abuse has increased. That doesn't surprise me. That makes me sad. 60% of referees choosing not to recertify due to harassment and threats. That's a mind blowing statistic that everybody has to look at and say, how can we change this? I've served on discipline and protest committees before with adult and with youth in the state of Georgia. And this was a while back, and the situations were definitely increasing at that time. But I think the list of sanctions was a little too open ended at that time, and there were too often easier routes to not severely punishing people who had done this, especially on the referee abuse side, the more verbal side. Now it is much more in writing of this is what has to happen to these individuals who do these sorts of things. So I really like the policy for US soccer. I think they could have went further, to be honest, but it is a very good start to helping protect referees better. And it's something that if we want the game to grow, you got to have the referees involved as well. Some other topics today. Damian Downs, a name you might need to know. His first sport was American football. He moved from Texas back to his native Germany and took up the other ball. And now he is starring for FC Köln, who is trying to get back to the top flight in the Bundesliga. 20-year-old striker. He had a goal and an assist in Wednesday's 3-2 German Cup loss to Bayer Leverkusen. 9 goals, 5 assists, 21 games for the top team in the second division right now. He's eligible to be called up by the U.S. men's national team, and the U.S. men's national team has a whole lot of injuries at forward. So just saying, you might want to get to know Damian Downs. John Duran is going to get to know air travel. Reportedly, he is going to travel over 500 kilometers a day to train with his new club, Al Nasser. An 80-minute flight to training every day. He has chosen, reportedly, to live with his girlfriend in Bahrain. I guess if you have the money, sure, that works. Wow. Yesterday's results, Club Leon, they take the top spot in Liga MX. 2-1 win over Pachuca. Steven Mendoza with the winner in the second half. Monterrey, no surprise, they win 2-0 in Canada against Forge FC in the CONCACAF Champions Cup first leg. The upset of the day was in CONCACAF. Real Esteli in Nicaragua, they defeated Tigres 1-0 on a late goal from Francisco Grau in the last 10 minutes of regulation time. Now, they've got to go to Monterrey and do it again against Tigres in the second leg. It's not likely, but it'll be a game you'll want to keep an eye on in that second leg. Newcastle United, they took care of a second leg yesterday. They are into the Carabao Cup final, trying to win their first trophy in 56 years. Arsenal couldn't get it done. Newcastle had a 2-0 lead in the first leg. They extended that to win 2-0 with goals from Jacob Murphy and Anthony Gordon. And they'll find out who they play today. Liverpool and Tottenham. That is the second leg of the Carabao Cup semifinal. Tottenham has the 1-0 lead. Liverpool are unbeaten in 15 home matches since September. They've scored at least 2 goals in each of those. Spurs do have that aggregate lead. They have kept 4 clean sheets in their last 8 games in all competitions. They have not won at Anfield since 2011. They don't have to win. They need to get a draw at least. If they do that, they will go through. If they lose 1-0, then we see what happens. If they lose by more than that, then no. Can Spurs do it? It would be a very big upset if they can do it. And what a final that would be. Newcastle and Tottenham in the Carabao Cup. Liverpool trying to get this done. If Ange Postecoglou doesn't get this done, does that change the narrative a little bit? Although I think he's on steadier ground now than he was before. The Leagues Cup has been a big thing for him. The League Cup has been a big thing for him to help get going. I mixed up my league and Leagues Cups there. Carabao Cup, the Gummy Bear Cup. You can watch that this afternoon, and you can come back tomorrow and have a little more Morning Espresso presented by Oglethorpe University on the SDH Network. As always, the SDH AM show starts at 9:05. John Nelson has got you covered on YouTube, on X, on Facebook, and on Twitch.